What is campaign management? It is the planning and execution of a political campaign. If you want to know how that is done, stick around because I got a lot to share. There are 5 pillars in every campaign, each of which holds a high degree of weight. If one of those pillars is not erected, your campaign will fall apart. So what we're going to do in this video is cover each of those pillars so you know how to put together a viable campaign plan. In the first half of this video, we're going to talk about the campaign message and how that campaign message is disseminated, starting with the easy and then the free and the costly. If you don't have a pen in your hand, I suggest you grab one because you're going to want to take notes here. Number 1 is the message. In some ways, the most important component of your campaign. Now, I do have another video on this. It's called How to Create a Campaign Message. And if you really want to do a deep dive into that, I suggest that you watch it after you're finished with this one. Today, I'm just going to mention it in passing. But your campaign message is essentially composed of 5 parts. Voters are going to want to know what you do for them. They're going to want to know something about your moral code and what makes you tick. They're going to want to know that you're qualified to do the job. They're going to want to know what your story is and what is motivating you to run for office. And they're going to want to know what makes you better than your opponent. Those are the components of a campaign message. During the course of a campaign, there are going to be many things: newspaper stories, news stories, the conduct of your opponent, attacks coming at you out of the woods. And sometimes the hardest thing to do when you're trying to respond at all this shrapnel flying at your head is to remember that your message is what's going to win your election. That means you cannot let outside activities throw you off message. So the first component of a well-planned, well-strategized campaign is what we call message discipline. Never let other events throw your campaign off message. I'll just mention in passing, there was a famous fellow named James Carville who managed Bill Clinton's 1992 campaign. And every day had people from the campaign staff walking in and out of his door and said, so-and-so said this, how do we respond? And so-and-so said that, and this was in the paper in the New York Times today, how we're going to respond to that. And finally, Carville put a message on his office door for everybody to see before they walked in, and it said, "It's the economy, stupid." His way of saying to those staff members, we are a disciplined campaign. We're not letting other events stop us from talking about the economy. Well, the rest is history. Bill Clinton was elected president and served for 2 terms. That is what you call message discipline. The second piece of this is who needs to hear your message. There are many ways to reach voters. There is paid advertising, there are candidate speeches, there is door-to-door canvassing, and a plethora of ways to advertise a message. Part of the planning of a political campaign is deciding what audiences in the larger electorate are most likely to vote for you at the end of the day. Now, at the beginning of the campaign, you can look at it, and there are those who are going to vote for you because of your party affiliation. Then there are those who have to be persuaded to vote for you, and then there are those who are never going to vote for you. The wise use of campaign resources concentrates on those most likely to vote for your candidate and those who need to be persuaded. Do not waste a dime trying to convince people who are not going to vote for you to change their mind. It is easier to convince an undecided voter to go in your direction than it is to convince someone to change their mind. So that's the second component of planning and executing a campaign, is deciding your target audience. The third topic that we're going to talk about is how to disseminate that message. And there are three categories I'm going to mention here. The first is the candidate. Candidates give speeches. Candidates record videos that are posted on social media. Candidates show up and perform at debates. Candidates do town halls. Candidates have press conferences. Candidates have photo ops. Candidates are candidates. In a competitive election, every word that a candidate says is picked up by somebody, because everybody has a cell phone and everybody can record a video when a candidate is talking in public. So that is the first means of disseminating a message. Then there is what we call the free and inexpensive way to disseminate the message. That is adroit use of social media. That is the adroit use of publicizing your campaign events to the media so they can pick it up. It is the adroit use of volunteers who knock on doors, who hand out literature at shopping centers, who do lit drops in certain neighborhoods, who canvass on your behalf and talk to voters about their attitudes, and then create a list of people that you need to get out to vote on election day. You have to give time and attention to how you are going to do those two things wisely. Now, the candidate doesn't cost much money to give speeches. The volunteers don't cost a lot of money, but now we get to the paid advertising portion of executing your message. And that's where it starts to get costly. Now, there's the cheap, it's what we call digital IP or digital cookie targeting. There is the relatively inexpensive, that might be Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. In some communities, radio is still used. I recently did a campaign where there is a prominent local newspaper widely read in that community, so we did newspaper ads. We did streaming television, but there are other kinds of TV that you can use. There's cable, there's OTT, there's commercial television if you live in a large jurisdiction. But lots of time and attention has to be devoted to how you plan to execute your message and get it in front of the eyeballs or into the ears of voters who need to hear it. Incidentally, if you're thinking of running for office or planning to work for someone who is, I have a free gift for you. It's called 12 Essential Steps to Prepare for a Political Campaign. It's yours for a click below this video. Click on it, download it, read it. Two other pillars in your campaign, in some ways essential to your success. You have to have a budget. It has to be well researched. You have to know what things cost in advance to properly plan a political campaign. And I'm just going to say it right now. If you do not have a budget, you do not have a campaign strategy. It needs to be on paper, and it's not to be put on a shelf to draw dust. So you have to research, what is your staff going to cost? How many people are you going to put on the payroll? What kind of vendors are you going to need to hire? How much does it cost to keep your candidate on the road, whether it's airfare or in a car or in a hotel? Put all of this on paper. If you have no idea how to do this, put a note in the comment section and say, I need help with planning a campaign budget, and I'll find a way to get the information to you. Now, once you have a budget that's well researched, voila, you need a plan to raise it. How, if you say we need $1 million for this campaign, are we going to raise $1 million? If you don't have a plausible way to raise $1 million, you're going to have to revise that budget. I've seen campaigns plot out $3 million campaigns, and I say, how are you going to raise it? And they have no earthly idea. All they have is wasted paper. So talk about your fundraising. There are many ways to raise money. It's incumbent upon you to figure out where this money is coming from, whether it's calls that the candidate is going to make or people who can be enlisted to raise money for you, whether it's organizations that have agreed to contribute to you, or cocktail parties that people have agreed to host, or large and celebrity events, or text messaging, or email, or what have you. All of this needs to be part of a campaign plan. And if you don't have it together, you do not have the 5 pillars: the message, the targeting, how you're going to execute it, a budget, and a fundraising plan. That's what the 5 pillars are. No campaign plan is complete without all of them. If you've made it this far in this video, it's because you're interested in campaign management or a candidate who's interested in how it's done. So I've got another gift for you that I'm going to suggest you watch. It's called How to Become a Political Campaign Manager. If you have an interest in high-level politics, go watch that video, get a job as a political campaign manager. It will be the richest few months of your life.